Good evening, friends! Today, we're going to be treading on thin ice. I often talk about beautiful places, but let's be honest, there are spots on the map where the planet shows its true colors. And today, we're going to talk about places where you could actually lose your life. First, let's tackle the topic of tsunamis. Not like in the films, but in real life. Buckle up, this isn't a sightseeing trip, it's a warning. The raging ocean, tsunami, a rough diagram of how a tsunami forms. An instantaneous displacement of the ocean floor causes deformation waves in the water and long waves on the ocean's surface, where the ocean depth decreases to roughly half the wavelength. The wave begins to grow and can reach a height of 20 to 40 meters on a gently sloping shore, a slow death. You notice that the water has receded by 500 meters. Fish are floundering on the sand. You have 5 to 15 minutes. People go to look at the seabed. This is their final mistake. A wave as tall as a 10-story building. Don't run in a straight line. Run towards a concrete car park. If the water catches up with you, look for a pipe, a corner, any hollow space. In 2004, in the Indian Ocean, people in Indonesia died not from the water, but because they were tossed about against debris, as if in a concrete mixer. Mountains that don't forgive. Annapurna, Nepal, 32% mortality rate on ascents. Annapurna in Nepal is considered the deadliest mountain. Almost every third climber dies there, due to frequent avalanches and sudden weather changes. Why does Annapurna suffer from so many avalanches? I know that every big mountain has its own risks, but Annapurna seems to be crazy when it comes to avalanches, to the point where you can't wait for perfect conditions and just hope it doesn't collapse on your path. Why is that? And why is it much more dangerous than other mountains? Annapurna I has two completely different faces. On the one hand, it is a murderous mountain, where, according to statistics, every third climber who decides to climb it dies. The high walls, the huge number of avalanche-prone slopes, and the rapid change of weather make climbing extremely risky. The south face is especially treacherous, where avalanches occur suddenly and on a large scale. In 2014, a strong cyclone caused a series of avalanches and claimed dozens of lives, making it one of the most tragic events in the history of the Himalayas. The name Annapurna itself is associated with the image of a goddess who provides food and protects fertility. The name Annapurna translates to goddess of fertility. Colima volcano, Mexico, pyroclastic flows. The volcano forms part of a volcanic complex in the states of Colima and Jalisco, which is regularly monitored by volcanologists. In May 2005, pyroclastic material was dispersed over a distance of 4 to 5 kilometers, whilst ash clouds reached a height of 3 kilometers. Activity is often associated with the growth of lava domes at the summit, their subsequent collapse, and the formation of incandescent avalanches. The volcano has been active since 1576, with over 40 major eruptions recorded. Pyroclastic flows pose the main threat, as was the case, for example, during the active phase in March 2015. You are standing 3 kilometers from the crater. The flow speed is 700 kilometers per hour. The temperature is 1,000 degrees Celsius. You won't even hear the sound in an explosion. The ash and gas will vaporize you faster than a nerve impulse can reach your brain. Volcanologists fear a repeat of the events of the 22nd of January 2015, when the volcano's eruption reached a height of 10 kilometers and ash fell on 3 major cities in Mexico. Mexicans call Colima the fiery mountain. Over the last 5 centuries, it has erupted more than 40 times and is considered one of the most active volcanoes in Central America and the Northern Hemisphere. The lake that killed 1,746 people in one night. A mysterious tragedy, how a lake killed 1,746 people in one night in 1986. On August 21, 1986, A mysterious explosion occurred near Lake Nyos in northwestern Cameroon. The following morning, 1,746 people and over 3,500 livestock were found dead within a 25-kilometer radius of the lake. Some lakes are like serial killers. They're nice and calm until one day they snap and kill hundreds of people. There's no sign of a struggle, no shooting, no explosion, just a strange sound over the lake. Afterward, hundreds of dead people and animals were found in and around the settlements. The locals couldn't explain what had happened. Some called it a chemical attack, while others thought a religious explanation. Those who survived, mostly those who quickly moved to higher ground away from the lake, described their neighbors and relatives falling asleep and never waking up, as well as a cloud of gas that emerged from the lake and spread rapidly throughout the area. Some people simply lost consciousness and woke up the next morning to find themselves surrounded by dead bodies. Within a week, scientists arrived at Lake Nyos. The first thing they saw was bodies lying everywhere, and the lake had turned from blue to red. Many of those who survived suffered from vomiting, diarrhea, and hallucinations, which are symptoms of carbon dioxide poisoning. What really happened? Lake Nyos was formed in a volcanic crater and contained a large amount of carbon dioxide beneath its surface. This is usually not a problem most of the time. The fluidity of water removes toxic fumes from bodies of water before they become truly dangerous. But Lake Nyos is very quiet. You could say it's self-contained. So for hundreds of years, the gas has been accumulating beneath the water, waiting for an opportunity to escape. No one knows what caused the lake to erupt that day, whether it was a landslide or just a sudden release of gas. But when it exploded, about 1.2 cubic kilometers of CO2 were suddenly released, engulfing nearby settlements like a gas tsunami. Some natural attractions combine incredible beauty with deadly danger, but this does not stop thousands of thrill seekers. Devil's Pool, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Victoria Falls, located between Zimbabwe and Zambia, is one of the largest waterfalls in the world and has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1989. Tourists flock to the falls, especially to Devil's Pool, a natural pool on the edge of a 100-meter deep chasm. Once there, they lean over the edge to take photos of the most endless pool in the world. Although there have been no fatalities in the pool, it is only safe to swim between August and January, when the water level drops and the stone barrier briefly makes swimming safe. However, one wrong move can send you plummeting into the abyss. The cliffs of Moher, Ireland. These majestic cliffs, towering over the turbulent ocean, are one of Ireland's most picturesque destinations. But there are no fences here. One careless step and a person will be blown away into the abyss by the wind. Since 1993, dozens of people have died here. But this does not stop tourists who are eager to take the perfect selfie on the edge of the cliff. What is the danger of the island of Quimada Grande? Why has Brazil banned its visitation? And is it true that it is possible to live there for only a couple of hours? What could be so dangerous that the authorities have banned access to the island? On a map, it looks like an ordinary small landmass in the Atlantic Ocean, but it is a place where nature has decided to set its own rules, and it is best for humans to stay away. What makes this island so special? A bit of history and the danger of the island. If we talk about the history of the island, it begins around 11,000 years ago, when rising sea levels separated it from the mainland. Before that, common species of snakes inhabited the area, but the isolation changed everything. Nature created unique conditions, no natural enemies, a mild climate, and an abundance of food in the form of migratory birds. This isolated world allowed the snake populations to reproduce without restrictions. In these conditions, the island bodtrips appeared, a species of snake that became the symbol of Quimada Grande and the cause of its bad reputation. These snakes, also known as golden spearheads, have developed a unique form of venom. Their survival depended on their speed, as the only way to catch a bird that could fly away at any moment was to paralyze it instantly. As a result, their venom became highly toxic, significantly more potent than that of mainland species. It destroys tissue, causes internal bleeding, and leaves little chance for survival. Additionally, there's no antidote for the island species due to their isolated habitat. This deadly gift of evolution has turned the island into a place where human survival is a myth. But it's not just about toxicity. The absence of predators has allowed snake populations to grow almost uncontrollably. Today, the density of snakes on the island is incredible, with up to 5 individuals per square meter in some areas. It's impossible to walk on the ground without encountering a snake. The entire territory of Queimada Grande is a realm of reptiles that crawl. I didn't tell you this so that you'd be afraid to go to the sea. I told you this so that you'd know that nature isn't evil, it's just huge. If the water's gone from the beach, run like a champion. If the mountain's shaken, don't stand in the gorge. Take care of yourself, learn about the risks, and don't go where even the birds avoid. Subscribe to stay up to date on the next episode, which will be about places where you'll survive even if you shouldn't.